My beloved ones, I am Algimantas. I live in Lithuania and I present spiritual teachings. This time, I would like to tell you just a couple of words on a spiritual topic: our cooperation with Providence, with the Creator's Providence. So first, what is Providence? Once I already discussed this theme, but that was not in detail. So this time I would like to expand your knowledge on our cooperation with Creator's Providence. So Providence is a collective of different beings which we do not see with our material eyes. Nonetheless, they are operating and they are real personalities. They control, depending upon their qualification, Creator's energy to a certain level. And out of Creator's energy, they might materialize certain objects following Creator's will, or change circumstances. So in a way, if we embark upon the living path, and by the living path, I mean our life performing Creator's will, after we discover Creator within each of us. Once I discovered Creator within, I did really found Creator Himself. Say, when I look for a certain thing that I was missing, and I most probably had lost it somewhere, and I had been searching for this thing, and eventually found it. So I simply had it and used it. The same might be applied to the phenomenon of discovering Creator within. It is such a deep and real experience, sensation, that you have discovered Creator Himself within, and you begin to cooperate with Creator as co-creator. So equally, we might cooperate with invisible to our eyes Creator's Providence, with this large collective of spiritual personalities. The living path, this is actually our way, our mode of living, following Creator's will. And this is very important, that we would open up to Creator spiritually, that is, sincerely, by our true personality self. And that means we do not perform any rituals. We do not profess any dogma, but we open up to Creator and we establish a living communion with Him, and we begin to sense Creator within, and we feel His leading from within. And we lean upon this feeling of Creator's leading. And our life is being based on this leading. We do not plan anything in advance once we are in a deep communion, because in this case we trust Creator, who has planned everything for us, because He is not only wise, but he is the source and center of wisdom. Therefore, his planning and his will for each of us is perfect. Therefore, his will for our personality on this planet corresponds to our ability to perform this or that action, to improve, to build up our character for the benefit of all. And in this case, Creator provides for our assistance this collective of spiritual beings, his providence. Therefore, once this collective of beings is provided to us, it is meant that we would grow in our spiritual understanding, in our spiritual knowledge, and start cooperating with the providence for the benefit of all. And it is so attractive because this very process starts involving you ever deeper, because you begin to relish in this process as it is true and real and always filled up with Creator's will and Creator's love. And once you begin to feel Creator's love within, you do desire to be a real part of evolution. Now people argue about the fact how man came into being on this planet. The church claims that man was created by God, and atheists claim just the opposite, that man is the product of evolution. So what is evolution? Is it a reality or man's fancy? And if I say we should cooperate with Creator's providence, is it an evolutionary assertion or it's my fancy? Because people have never heard before that it is possible to cooperate first with Creator himself and then with Creator's providence. So I do believe that the majority of you would consider that this is my fancy. Actually, I'm a realist. I'm not an optimist. I'm not a pessimist. I'm a true realist. Therefore, once I say that you may start just searching, sincerely searching for Creator himself within, and once you take your sincere efforts daily, eventually you will arrive at the state of your consciousness. Once you begin to feel the sensation within, you have really discovered Creator within, and you will start cooperating with Creator, first by communing with Him, and then beginning to feel His will. And all of a sudden, you would be filled up with Creator's love that would express its grand power within you, and this power would make you start doing Creator's will by Creator's love motive. And you discover that you desire to cooperate with Creator's providence. So this would be an evolutionary growth of your identity, of your personality. Your personality is one and changeless, but your identity is permanently changing, just growing from one step to another, just climbing a huge eternal mountain, and it shall never reach the very summit of this mountain because it is within eternity that never stops unfolding by your new experiences. Therefore, evolution is the process designed by Creator Himself, that our development of our identity would be gradual by experiencing, and each experience is different. It is original. It is not a copy. Each moment we experience in a different way, even though we might say the same was yesterday as 2 days ago or a week ago or a couple of hours ago. No, the moments are different, and they are filled up with absolutely different vibrations, even though our sensations might not register them so that we would discover this difference. But this difference does really exist. Therefore, evolution is Creator's process for His children to manifest Creator's qualities, His character qualities, like love, mercy, goodness, beauty, truth, and manifest them all the time, and to a greater extent by being one's own self, one's true identity of one's changeless personality. So this is an evolutionary process. But this process, not only designed by Creator, but also it's under Creator's control, under the auspices of Creator. So in this case, we might use the help that is rendered by Creator's providence. If we climb any elevation so we can see a wider horizon, once we are on a higher level of that elevation, the same might be applied to our spiritual way of living. Once our personality identity discloses ever new heights of the spiritual elevation within, so cosmic insight is also growing. It is opening ever wider horizons, first within our personality, and then without the ambience. We can see the environment in a much deeper way. We notice different things that we have not noticed before. And we do desire to be assisted by the providence. Once we desire to do the will of Creator, and by doing this, we need some support on the part of the providence, as we are not yet qualified for the level to control energy the way the providence is capable of controlling it, or to control the circumstances. So in this case, we might even use our sincere prayer as one of the means of cooperation with Creator's providence. Once we pray in our petitions for the assistance of the providence, when people find themselves in some critical situations, like during enormous tornadoes or huge flooding or wildfires. So in this case, our prayer for assistance to such people in critical situations is rendered through the operation of Creator's providence. We might be petitioning for assistance to such people being here in Lithuania, while the people in critical zones, in natural catastrophe zones, might be even on other continents, not even in Europe, where is our country. So in this case, our heart tells us whether or not our petition is true to Creator's will, because the heart language is the true language. Our intellect might feel not always correct answers and not always correct desires, and our selfish self might be taking the upper hand, while our heart language is the true language or the true voice of our personality identity. So once we express our petition for the assistance of the people in critical situations, and we pray for the assistance of Creator's providence, this assistance is being provided upon our request, upon our petition. Once this petition is in conformity with Creator's will. Therefore, while petitioning, we should always express this assertion: be your will, my beloved Father, my beloved Eternal Mother, my beloved Infinite Mother, my beloved Aggregate Deity, I am. So, being on the living path and developing your identity, you might arrive at a certain spiritual point within that you begin to feel certainty that you are capable of controlling Creator's energy yourself to a certain level. And this certainty is coming from Creator Himself, and it is being passed to our subconsciousness by the operation of Creator's Spirit, which is called the thought adjuster, and which is operating within our mind while we are asleep, while our consciousness is disconnected. So subconsciousness, once it's not occupied by dreams, has an open channel for the taking in of Creator's light, of Creator's assertions of love and light. And quite often, in the morning, once we wake up, we do know the way how to solve the problem that was oppressing our mind just on the previous night. So this might be Creator's Spirit's thought adjuster's tip to us. So in this case, we begin even to express our petitions by our ever-growing understanding in spirit that we are certain to perform a certain, to regular brethren, a certain act of a miracle, even though it is not a miracle, whatever. But we are so deeply certain by feeling such a deep faith in Creator, and self-confidence is so high that we can change the Creator's energy into a certain material object. We cannot transform the energy into this material object, but our link with Creator's providence is giving us certainty that this act shall be performed by the qualified members of Creator's providence for the benefit of all, and once this in conformity with Creator as well. So in this case, our faith is the power that gives us the certainty that we are cooperating with Creator's providence, and we are certain to receive the desired effect which has been expressed by our petition for the benefit of all. So this is the main motive, to enlighten all for the benefit of all, even though this material act is being performed in a material venue and in a particular place, and most probably among definite brethren. But nevertheless, it is meant for the benefit of all. So providence is also made up by our guardians, by our seraphim. They are also full-fledged members of the providence, and we might cooperate with them as well. Once we are somewhere in a hurry and the circumstances are such that we might be late, so it is our seraphim that might be changing the circumstances for, say, some either train or plane, that he might be, the crew or the driver might be delayed by some outer traffic or by some event or by some other circumstances. And you might be arriving just in time. And this is, by the majority of people, would be considered as a lucky chance without any relation to the operation of Creator's providence in this case. Or, to be more exact, by our seraphim. So this is exactly the operation of our seraphim to enact such circumstances that you would experience this sort of an event for your character build-up, for your character improvement, that you would ponder upon this event. How come that this did happen in reality? The same might be applied to some circumstances once you escape some dangerous catastrophe, that you have survived even though it was a mortal catastrophe. So dangerous that you should have lost your material life. And the changing of these material circumstances have been performed by our seraphim. It was not a lucky chance. It has been pre-planned and successfully carried out by these invisible members of Creator's Providence for our benefit and for the benefit of all. As Creator's Providence is operating while doing Creator's will, and it is always for the benefit of all. That's why I'm also expanding your point of view for the benefit of all, that it would be easier for you to evaluate the ambience you are in, to expand your cosmic insight, that you would be able to notice the things that you have not noticed before, to know the circumstances, how they are being modeled even by the providence of Creator. And once you grow in your spiritual insight, you would begin to feel a greater desire for the cooperation with the providence for the benefit of all. And you will feel great love for them, deep love for our brethren making up Creator's providence, and so far being invisible to our material eyes, nonetheless being real and operating for our assistance, just to strengthen our faith, to improve the buildup of our character, so that we would be true images of Creator by the qualities that we manifest on our daily environment. Once we show ever-growing love, mercy, goodness, truth, beauty, first within our hearts and then without, by doing good deeds as co-creators with Creator Himself. Amen.